What about you, Mike? What
Well,
about your first song on the radio?
Yeah, I'm a little older than Doug. So I think it was on Kicks, and
Yeah.
it was Do You Believe in Magic, Lovin' Spoonful,
Right.
and right at the same time, some of my friends had older brothers who had Beatles and Stones records, so it was all, I was exposed to that. I was first, second grade. And
Well, when did you actually decide or say, I want to do music? When did you both?
I started playing the guitar in the third grade.
You did? So
Yeah.
soon. Wow.
Yeah, my dad had come home with a guitar. He had every intention of learning, but you know, it just sat in a corner. So I finally said, you know, Dad, do you mind if I pick this thing up? And he, you know, he's by all means. And there's no.
So were you jamming to Lovin' Spoonful at the time?
Well, you know, yeah, I was. Well, no, but I had.
I'd like you to do that for us now.
A couple of years after that, you know, had guitar teachers who were, you know, they would just show up with a Bob Dylan songbook, and
Wow.
you know, so it was more, you know, stringing together G, C, and D chords and trying to play Bob Dylan tunes.
You've
that
come
sort
a
of
long
thing.
way.
Well,
More, maybe a few more chords, right?
yeah, a
I
few
think
more
you have
chords.
5 now.
Yeah, that's about the limit.
Now, what was the name of that first band you had? Was that an official band? I don't know if he's going to want to talk about this.
Yeah, you know,
Is it a
5th
great
grade.
name?
This is the
It
late
was called the
60s.
Hit Parade?
Huh?
The band was called
No,
the Hit
no,
Parade?
no,
Oh.
no, no.
No, this was
Good name.
the late 60s, and you know, thanks, Doug.
Sorry.
You know, psychedelic was the word everyone was throwing around,
Uh-huh.
and you know, I knew of Iron Butterfly, so in the 5th grade we had a band called Psychedelic Butterfly.
Oh my
It was
God.
really original. Yeah,
That's good, man. That's a good name.
Really? So you're in the 6th grade?
5th grade.
5th grade?
grade.
Fifth
Oh
grade.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, can you do a little Inagata to be here for us at least?
No, we were actually. I think we did stuff like when the Saints go marching in, and
That's
Really
great.
matches
but we
the name of the
did
band.
have, like the Monkees, we had our own
A
theme
psychedelic
song.
monkey thing?
Psychedelic Butterfly song.
Oh wow! You had your own theme. I didn't know
Oh, no kidding.
I
Do
can
you have
even tell you the first 2 lines.
any- Okay, how did it sound? We can do sound
It
effects.
sounded awesome. I'm going to speak the lyrics. though.
Okay.
Butterfly catcher, that am I. Caught a psychedelic butterfly. And, you know, it kind of went from there.
Good call.
Never heard
Oh,
that
God,
one
there we go.
I don't think I've ever heard those lyrics before. They might have to reemerge.
Yeah, I can't imagine why I wouldn't have advertised that
That
before
gives
now.
me chills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember that, 5th
Yeah.
It had a
grade.
similar effect on my
Flashbacks or
parents
something,
back
yeah.
then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Oh my gosh, psychedelic butterfly. That's beautiful. I probably
Thanks.
it's something I would have listened to.
Yeah.
Well, what about, okay, on the top of your head, the best concert, one of the top 5 concerts you've ever seen that's had the most impact on you?
I saw the Clash at the Brixton Fair Deal in London in 1982, and
Jealous.
I had, you know, I didn't know what I was doing. I was, you know, I'd been to plenty of concerts by that point, but I thought I could hang with some of those kids over there. So I was near the front, and they started out with White Riot, and I nearly had my head taken off. So I got the heck out of there and to the side, you know. And so yeah, that is still to
I
this
bet
day.
that energy. I mean, they've always been one of my favorite bands. So
Yeah.
You know, and I've always thought when they say, "Do you regret not seeing any bands?" And yes, the Clash definitely one of them. What about for you, Doug?
Well, it's a toss-up because the first concert I ever went to is pretty memorable. That was Boston, Van Halen, Poco, and the Outlaws at Carter Finley
Oh
Stadium.
gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody was just talking.
Yeah.
No, Blade talked about that in his book.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first time I ever went to a concert, and that was a pretty eye-opening experience. And I had a date,
who I met there. She couldn't get there till later. Met her at the scoreboard. And then my parents came and picked us up, at the stadium you get picked up there.
And how old were you at this point?
I was 15, I think. And there was these guys all over the place, just kind of passed out, shirtless, And my parents pulled up, and my mom was looking out the window at these people who were just, I don't think they made it into the show.
Right.
And she says, "We're not going to any more of these."
Where was your date? Was she like?
She was in the backseat laughing.
Oh.
She thought it was the funniest thing she'd ever seen.
She wasn't
My
the
mom.
one passed out. Or...
She was fine.
No.
Yeah, we were fine.
Yeah, now that
Yeah.
is funny because I wasn't here then, but
Oh,
Blade
okay.
talked about that was the big concert.
That was a big
Everybody
deal.
couldn't believe it.
Yeah, yeah, it was a big deal.
Well, speaking of which, since we're on that subject of Bob the Blade, who I worked with for so long on the air,
Yeah.
he has a book that's coming out soon. There's nothing deader than loud air, and we all know that. As radio DJs and as musicians, it's like that was 30 seconds. Has it really been?
Yeah.
Even back in the day when you had albums, I remember when I first started at KZL, and I remember just kind of strolling out the back, smoking cereal, coming back. But then at least it wasn't complete dead air. It just
Yeah, yeah.
went, oh crap, I guess I lost track of that.
Yeah.
That's what happened back then. But so Blade moved to California, wasn't there quite a year on the air, and he has a whole chapter called The Connells. He told me, I haven't read the book yet, but I understand you visited him when he was in California on the air. Over
Yeah.
there. What was that story, since I haven't read it yet?
Well, we had a show, I guess the show was in Sacramento, and we played a show where there was a battle of the bands, and we weren't part of the battle of the bands. We were headlining the show. It was kind of a weird bill, but he had us come to the radio station where he was working, and he had all, 6 of us in there, and just talking about the new album. It was Boylan Heights, I think. Is that right?
I think it was Fun and Games.
Fun and Games, that's right. And anyways, long story short is that one of the guys dropped an F-bomb live on the air, and it was kind of like, and
We didn't realize that we were live on the air.
Yeah,
Oh, you didn't?
No.
We thought it was a taped situation. So, and I kept thinking, please be a 7-second delay, or you always hear about that in radio.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, that wasn't the case. So
So the phone started going crazy.
Well,
and,
we didn't stick around long after
Oh.
that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Bob was really amazingly even-tempered and
cool about it, yeah.
I
He didn't-
mean,
yeah.
Things don't faze him. He just rolls right on.
Yeah.
He didn't seem too worried about it, but we,
I think he acknowledged there might be some flack or
Repercussions.
consequences.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we saw him
Well,
that
back
night,
then
so.
they didn't have, I mean, it was still a no-no, but they didn't have the strict, ridiculous
Fine.
fines
Yeah.
that they have now
Yeah.
for every
Yeah.
single word. And he does, I know he does have those 5 famous words you can't say on the radio.
Yeah.
So maybe that's where that came from. Maybe
Yeah.
that's how the story,
That was definitely one of the 5.
yeah.
Well, I got to say, I mean, the fact that he would devote an entire chapter.
It's
I
called
know,
the
that's
Connells.
awfully
Awesome.
nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awfully nice.
I can't wait to get the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, me neither. And he's been teasing me about it. It's not like, and a lot of people are like, "Oh God, what have you written?" Like me, I mean, it's been so long. In those days, we hung out too. I had just gotten divorced, and I was like, so excited to just be out, be a free person.
Yeah.
I was a tequila queen in Blade, and I used to, just go out and we'd see who would flinch first.
Oh my God.
And yeah, it was that kind of. So my memory is a little foggy.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, I'll clear it up.
He'll clear it up for you. Yeah.
Well, how can you remember? But he does. He's always had a great memory. I guess he writes a lot of things down. But when you start writing, I'm sure it would be the same thing for you, and probably has been, that when you start writing, other things just pop in your head, and moments and memories that have such an impact on you
Oh yeah.
come
yeah.
rolling back into your had in your life, and you actually feel them again.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good sensation.
Yeah. So what about as far as playing? Do you have a concert that the Connells played that was most memorable for you?
Well,
We
I
played.
know there's a lot of them, but sometimes there could be a few that just sort of stand out.
You know, like the first time in Los Angeles, the first time in New York, first time in Chicago, those were all pretty memorable. I mean, just because for one, you're pretty scared to be, you know, because at first you haven't sorted out the fact that, you know,
Yeah.
This is what you're
300
doing.
people in New York are no different really than 200 or 300 people in Montgomery, Alabama. So,
Yeah. That's
but we played in '95. We played in a piazza in Rome,
Wow.
and it was one of these all-day shows. We were we had a song that was top 10 in Italy at the time, which is the reason we were on the bill. And Def Leppard played right after us, but there were 100,000 people at this show, so that was
And when was that? So the song, was that?
74, 75
Oh, okay.
was
Yeah.
right.
Right.
Somewhere in the top 10 in Italy at that point. And so yeah, playing in front of 100,000 people was a strange sensation. I mean,
Yeah.
looking out at that number of people, and you're saying, I hope my fingers work. I hope when I start playing the guitar that Anyway,
And I bet
Yeah,
it was
he is-
awesome. I bet
it
it
was,
was.
yeah. We played, we played fine. So.
Mhm.
We had to play. I guess we played 2 songs, and that was it.
I mean, because there were like 15 bands playing that
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, but being a southern band and being in the middle of Rome with like you said,
Yeah.
that's got to be overwhelming
It
and
was.
also an incredible experience.
Yeah, I mean, there were they had us on the bill just for the one song, obviously.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, it was during the chorus. It was that whole cliche thing where arms, waving in unison. So it was pretty wild to look out on
Is there
that.
any recording of that you know of?
I don't know.
Well, it was televised. That concert, I looked it up. That concert was for a while there. It's an annual event.
I wonder if you could get that footage.
have to
Wouldn't it
look
be
it up.
awesome?
I mean, it's got to be out there somewhere. So
Mhm.
they had those cameras on the cranes, that kind of float around, and they had guys with the steady cams running around. So
Well,
I
with
mean,
Facebook now, you could put it out there and someone would probably
I'm sure it's
know where it is, if not have
there's
it.
maybe some footage somewhere, but yeah.
What about you?
That's
Yeah,
the one.
That's
I
the
mean,
one, yeah.
There's that, and then there's like playing at WC Don's in Jackson, Mississippi, which is a double wide trailer.
Talk about two
Literally.
ends of the scale,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I always remember those places too, and it was behind a liquor store, and literally it was a trailer, and he turned into a rock club, and I used to love going to that place.
Yeah.
They called it WC Don's because they said we couldn't decide on a name. That was why they called it that. Those are the kind of places that you kind of can't forget because you always go back.